Hi everyone, so today we're going to have a look at intellectual property for second year revision. So just a recap from last year, so we're having a look at copyright, design right, patents, registered designs, trademarks and open designs. So registered designs, so this was for companies where they have products that are going to be very similar and you can't just copyright the whole thing, but you can take certain features and protect them as yours. So very famously, Apple and iPhone was the corners, the angle of the curves of the corners. With their original iPod, it was the control, like the wheel control in the middle to change the volume and change the track. With things like Cadbury's, it is the actual design of the bar of chocolate itself. Now, obviously, they do have the purple is theirs, but that's not covered under registered design. That's covered under trademark. So there's a few. It is possible to have more than one form of protection for the same product, just depending on what different aspect of that design it is. So this is particularly, obviously, you can't just like copyright all chocolate bars or all smartphones because so many different companies make the same type of thing. So this is where you have to take like a specific element of the design and claim that as yours. That makes it yours and truly unique. So copyright and design right. So copyright protects the work of artists and authors. So you've probably seen this before. So this is things like music, movies, video games, literature, those type of things. So there are instances where people are sued over breach of copyright. So if you download movies illegally, you can be fined for that. If like music artists have copied certain bits of music, so there's always, like every year or so, there's always some instance where some pop star has a claim made against them. So it's happened for people like Taylor Swift and Justin Bieber. They've had that before, where certain music sounds very similar to other artists, and basically a judge will have to decide whether it's deemed close enough or not. And then design rights, that covers drawing of new ideas, and that can be protected under design rights, and you will see this R in a circle. So trademarks, so this covers company name, slogans, logos, colours, that type of thing. So we say with Cadbury's, that purple would be their purple, so that is Cadbury's purple, so that would be covered under their trademark. So all companies are very protective of their brand names, or of their trademarks as a whole. So you've got your brand name, so the name of the actual company itself, the logo that goes with it, because the logo is how they are recognised worldwide, slogan if they have one, any colours they have in that logo, and everything like that. Now obviously you do get knockoffs, so when you buy like Gucci sunglasses, especially like Gucci and that type of thing, and those obviously you can get some knockoffs that look very, very realistic, but that is still very, very illegal, and if they are found out, they will have a huge fine or face jail time for that. So yeah, trademarks, really important to a company. That's sort of how they identify themselves in the market. That's how they say who they are, and companies are very, very protective of it. So patents, so this is granted by the state. So this is like patent office. So in America that is by the state, or if it's in England it might be the county. And that's exclusive rights to sell a new invention for a set amount of time. So typically that would be 20 years. So in exchange, inventors must allow details of their patent to be made public. That's where you have Google Patents. So you can, when this is done, go onto Google, type in Google Patents, and you can see all the patents that are currently available. If you own a patent, you are then allowed to sell it on. It's yours, you own that. If someone says, I'll give you a fiver for it, or I'll give you £1 million for it, depending on what it is, absolutely you are well within your rights to do that. So there are 4 criteria in order for something to be eligible for a patent. Okay, so 1, it must be new and never discussed publicly. So you can't have seen someone discuss something on TV and try and patent that, because it's out there in public domain now. It must involve an inventive step, so it can't be just something old that already exists. It must be capable of being made, so you can't just blanket take an idea like hover cars and say, I'm going to just patent hover cars. How would it work? Don't know. That means you then can't do it. You can find a way of doing it, then you can take that way. I always use it as an example, but if you take like the console wars, so between Nintendo, Sony and Microsoft, and the fact that when Nintendo had the motion control for the first time with those nunchucks, they were the first of the 3 companies to do that. So they then patented that, which meant that Xbox, which Microsoft and Sony, they can still do motion control. You can't own the idea of motion control, but the way that Nintendo did it was done. That's their way. You've got to figure out your own way of doing it. And then it must not be on the exclusion list. So there's a list of things that are not allowed to be patented. So that can be things like discoveries, because you haven't come up with something, you've just discovered something. Mathematical equations, theories, dramatic works, programs, or other non-physical products. The downside of it is it can be very, very expensive to own patents. It takes quite a while to go through. It's likely that if you're just like a designer working, you won't be able to afford it yourself, so you have to have backing from existing companies or a person that likes to invest in these type of things. However, that's quite risky, because once you tell them their idea, your pitch, what's stopping them from stealing your idea, because you haven't got it covered yet. So it's a very, very risky game to play. So we're going to have a look at a couple of questions. So first one, describe the concept of open design, how this allows the development of products and the common good of society. Provide clear examples in your answers. So 6 marks, so that's 3 points with evidence. So note that the question has asked you to give examples. If you do not give examples, you can't get any of the marks. So 6 marks, 6 minutes. Pause the video, have a go at answering it, and we'll go for the answers. Okay, so you've got open design. So open design is basically, you've got contributors to open design are not paid for their work, but they design their design is donated to the world, so it's out on websites. So there are websites like Thingiverse, Instructables, those type of things, where designs or the plans for designs are out there. So someone's come up with it, they've not charged for it, it's just out there, people can take it. What you can't then do is make money from it. So free open source software, so things like OBS, if anyone does any streaming or recording of videos, that sort of thing, you can get free open source. Video editing software, all that sort of thing is used to allow designers access to resources to develop work and ideas without any cost involved. The use of 3D printing for free files available to download and adapt. So that allows people to make improvements to their own parts for a wide range of things. So a big one for that is Thingiverse, and I know a few people that are into their 3D printing. So if you go on Thingiverse, the website, you can find files, and it can be, there's loads of stuff for like 3D printing, there's loads of ones for laser cutting, so you can find the plans for things and print it, download it and print it for free. You just can't charge for it, but the idea is that you can then adapt it yourself to make it something else, as long as you upload it as well. So you like, the idea is that you keep building and building and building. So if you make one file and then 10 people download it and then make slight adaptations, and it keeps building, and then another 10 people and another 10 people, the idea that this thing is constantly improving, constantly developing. So the availability of free software and design files allows developing communities to lead healthier, safer, more productive life. So for example, by having access to designs allows water purification to take place. So it might be that people have got open source, so on, say, Thingiverse, where they've got 3D printing, they've got like water filters. So it's on there, so people can just download it, print it, and another example is when coronavirus first came into society, you could download the files for 3D printing face shields. So obviously that meant that anyone, that you don't have to go and buy it. It means that you could then print all the same to like laser cutting. So you could you could download the files to make this equipment. So all that is meant to help society, because people develop these things and will make it free and available for everyone. So say 3 specific methods companies use to raise awareness of their brand. So 3 marks. Pause the video, give yourself 3 minutes, and I'll go for the answers. So brand identity, so things like name, logo, colour schemes, letter fonts, slogans, that sort of thing. Packaging design, global marketing, advertising, like endorsements, so you can like viral marketing on social media. You can have famous celebrities can endorse your products, particularly things like social media. You can have influencers. So any 3 of those will get you the marks. So that is the end of intellectual properties. If you've got any questions, send me an email or send me a message on Teams.